Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we will be talking about the best metal albums of this year. And I'm also going to talk about my top 3 metal songs and my top 3 metal albums. Let's get to it. Alright, welcome back. So, things have been quite busy lately, hence the reason I've been posting few videos. It's Christmas time, so as you can imagine, things are hectic all around the world and for most of the people. But one thing which just keeps me going, metal music all around. And on this side, I've got my top 3 albums that I'm going to be talking about. So let's quickly talk about some of the albums which really had a massive influence on me in 2021, and they were like, wow, really good albums. It just goes to show that a lot of artists and bands are working really hard to produce the best stuff for us metal fans out there. And the best thing we can do as metal fans is support the artist and buy their albums. So the first album which really impressed me heaps. Now, I've been a big Accept fan for a few years, over a decade now, and I wasn't planning on buying this album because I just wasn't too excited about it. I just thought it's just going to be another rehash. It's just going to be same old, but this album turned out to be really cool. Too Mean to Die. And on a related note, the CD that I don't have, but I've been listening to the music on Apple Music, is U.D.O's brand new album, Game Over. I think that album is just amazing. It actually runs circles around this album. It's a masterpiece. I highly recommend it. I'm still trying to work out where to buy my CD from because my local stores don't have it. So it looks like I have to probably source it internationally. Anyways, let's talk about the other album which influenced me big time, Nervosa. Now this is a Brazilian band. This is a Brazilian all-girls band, and I was highly impressed by this particular album. It's got everything. You got elements of death, thrash metal, perfect combination, and very well executed. I mean, how cool is this artwork? Epica's album Omega was pretty awesome too. Nothing new here. It's just same old Epica stuff, but really good album. So I highly recommend it. I mean, if you want to pick up an older Epica album, you can do that as well. But this album is pretty cool. It's right up there, you know. I'm kind of glad they didn't really change too much with their formula. It's better to stick to what works best. And as metal fans as well, I think majority of the fans tend to like that, because how often we have actually heard or read on Blabbermouth that, hey, this album sounds crap, the previous one was better. Now because they're trying to experiment with something different. And it just goes to show for people like Iron Maiden, the band, they, over the years, over the decades, they have just stuck to their formula and kept on producing this similar sound. Yet their songs are refreshing regardless. It's not a regurgitation. They have their style and they stick to it, and we love that style. So kudos to Iron Maiden. Alright. Fear Factory's new album. Now this is gonna be most likely the last Fear Factory album with Burton Bell, the singer, but at the end of the day, I'm glad this album eventually came out. It took a long time for this album to be released because they had so many issues with the band members, Dino, Burton, but I'm glad they released this album because this album is a kick-ass album. So I highly recommend it. I think it actually blows anything Fear Factory has ever done, and I'm talking about the old school demanufacture era. Great stuff, obsolete, great stuff as well. This is even better. Highly recommend it. So check out Fear Factory's Aggression Continuum. Alright, now the next one I'm going to talk about is Bullet for My Valentine's brand new album. This is a self-titled album. Now, this is the thing with this album. I wasn't planning on buying this album again because I didn't buy their last release either. But I have every other album they've ever released. And I just thought, it's not going to be great. Why do I think that? Well, because a lot of the original members tend to depart the band, and then you're left with just two original band members, and you start thinking, well, it's not going to work out. Surprisingly, this album really surprised me big time. I was highly impressed, and I'm still spinning this album on routinely basis because it's really cool. It's very aggressive sounding album, and it's not really something which Bullet for My Valentine I've done before. So a good example where the band has still kind of stuck to the formula but decided to implement some new ideas and yet kind of give it their own sound or similar sound, the Bullet for My Valentine sound. So that was pretty cool. The other one I've just recently purchased not too long ago is Dream Theater's A View from the Top of the World. Now, this particular album, I've never been a big fan of Dream Theater. I know who they are. I've listened to them in the past, but I never really got into them. And when this album came out, the album cover really caught my attention. I really dug the album cover, and I thought, okay, I'm going to check this band out. And I did. And I was highly impressed, especially A View from the Top of the World, which is the last track on this album. Highly recommend it. It's 20 minutes, 24 seconds long, but it's just amazing, absolutely amazing. I love it, highly recommend it. All right, let's talk about my top 3 songs. So on number 3, it will be Judas Priest, Brothers of the Road. Amazing, amazing track. Hands down, that has become my number 3 favorite track. Alright, and I'm going to talk more about this album in a sec. Number 2 from Accepts to Mean to Die album. It's called The Undertaker. Highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Do check it out. Enough said. Track number 1, favorite song of this year, 2021. It's going to go to Iron Maiden's The Writing on the Wall. Amazing track. I know this is the track which kind of parted the fans a little bit. A lot of fans didn't really like this song. Other fans were like, yeah, no, this is awesome. For me, this would be my number 1 favorite track, The Writing on the Wall. Alright, let's talk about top 3 albums. Cannibal Corpse's Violence Unimagined would be my number 3 metal album of 2021. So I've actually reviewed all of these CDs as well, and I'm going to leave them in the description so you can actually check them out. But this album, highly, highly recommended. It really impressed me. They ended up adding a new guitarist as well, and made a huge difference. The production on this album is awesome, and just the structures of all the songs. It's really, really good. Cannibal Corpse, number 3. Alright, number 2 favorite album of 2021 is going to go to Judas Priest. Now, Judas Priest, as you know, KK is the former guitarist of Judas Priest. So, in this album, anything and everything that you've loved about Judas Priest is in this album. It's every time I listen to this album from the start to the finish, it just blows me away because the songwriting and the melodies and the guitar solos and the riffs and the double kicks, the blast beats and everything, just perfect. And vocal wise, great stuff as well by Tim Ripper Owens. Hey, Judas Priest's last album, which came out in 2017, I think, or 2018, I can't quite remember. Firepower was an amazing return to form. That was an amazing album. But listening to KK again on this album has just been awesome. So I highly recommend this album, number 2. And my number 1 favorite album of 2021 would be Iron Maiden's Senjutsu. I just didn't know what to expect from this album, especially when the first 2 songs, Strata Go and The Writing on the Wall, were released. I was very impressed by those 2 songs, but I just wasn't sure if it's gonna be a good album or not. But from the beginning, from the top to the bottom, this album just simply rocks. My only gripe with this album is that Bruce's vocals aren't really mixed so well, and that's probably because he had a throat cancer a few years back, and pretty much that's when they ended up recording this album. So I think now it all kind of makes sense that why his vocals are a little bit buried in the mix. Nevertheless, the music is doing the talking, and the songwriting and the riffs, the guitar solos, the melodies, you name it, the harmonies, everything. It's absolutely amazing. And Nico McBrain's drumming is just superb. I don't think I've ever heard Nico's drumming sounding so good like the way it sounds on this album. So that's it, guys. There you go. My top 3 albums of this year, and I've already talked about my top 3 metal songs of the year. And one of the other albums that I still haven't received yet, and I'm hoping to do my review on as well once I'll get it, is Exodus Persona Non Grata. I've been listening to that album on Apple Music, and that album is just sounding amazing. Persona Non Grata is the best Exodus album ever, in my opinion. So I will be posting that video as soon as I get my copy, and I'm hoping I will get my copy just before Christmas. So watch out for that video. I will be posting that video either before Christmas or after Christmas. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.